few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I think I talked about the different ordinances that we have in the Churches of God, that we do communion, we do baptism, and we do feet washing. And for something to be an ordinance in the Churches of God, it requires to be something that Jesus did, something that Jesus commanded us to do, and have some type of spiritual relevance. And it's always interesting because everything gets back to me. Sooner or later, I find out, I end up hearing about it. And so there was a bunch of phone calls, going around back channel about the pastor talking about feet washing as an ordinance, and do you believe in that, or what do you think about that? And we were just thinking, people really have a stigma about feet washing, and they have no idea what it means or what it's about. So Wayne and I said, man, maybe we should make a video, because we're hits with our videos. We got YouTube followers. I'm surprised we're not on like Leno or Letterman or whatever the latest show is now. With the following we're getting with our videos. Then I just said, why don't I just wash your feet on Sunday morning? He was like, great idea.
It's easier too.
It's easier than doing a video because, well, we'll see. Yeah. Seems like I butchered this like I did there. But so, as we were talking about the idea of feet washing, we were talking about the stigma about it. And we're like, so why do you think people have a problem with feet washing? It has to do with feet. Feet are funky. Feet are, that's one reason. Feet are just nasty. Feet are it's just feet. Right? But when you think about, as a church, Pembroke, we do feet washing on Maundy Thursday. And we would talk about, Maundy Thursday is probably one of our least attended services, but to me it's one of the most important services that we do. You figure it's the evening of the Last Supper, it's the evening of the betrayal by Judas, it's the evening of being arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, it's the start of the mockery of the trial. A lot of things happen on Maundy Thursday. And I think a lot of people don't come to Maundy Thursday service because of feet, or feet washing. So I said, how do we get over the stigma? So I said, I think a lot of people just don't understand it. Now, we do it once a year. We do it Maundy Thursday here. My previous church, we did it twice a year. We did it Maundy Thursday and Worldwide Communion Sunday. I know some churches that do it every time they take communion. Because if you read John chapter 13, feet washing was in preparation of the Last Supper. And they felt you could not really be spiritually fit to take communion unless you were prepared. And we'll talk about what feet washing prepared you for. I know some churches who've gone to hand washing because that makes people more comfortable. But it kind of defeats the purpose of feet and why feet are important, or why it's important in this scenario. So we thought we'd go over and talk about this and share what is actually happening. Now, if you remember, you've heard me enough. I've been here 5.5 years. Gospel of John, which is the only place you'll find feet washing. Gospel of John, chapter 13, verses 1 through 17. It's not in Matthew, Mark, or Luke. But if you remember the Gospel of John, when they're asking John to write about his time with Jesus, John said, you have Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And they kept insisting he was the youngest. The other ones were being martyred. He goes, okay, I will write what Matthew, Mark, and Luke did not cover. So about 80 to 90% of the Gospel of John is unique to the book of John. You won't find it anywhere else. So the fact that feet washing is mentioned only in John, because John's filling in what Matthew, Mark, and Luke forgot. Now, if you know biblical times, their footwear was not Nike. They were not wearing Air Jordans when they were traveling. They were wearing sandals. They were wearing sandals on dirt roads. And not only dirt, dusty roads, and dry climate, other things traveled on those roads too. They'd be animals. And animals do what animals do when animals walk. So you have a bunch of stuff on the pavement that these people are walking, they're traveling. So anytime they arrived at someone's house, a servant would welcome them, and first thing they do was wash their feet. It was always the lowest servant of the household. So more than likely it was probably a child. A younger servant being taught, they would wash the people's feet so they could then enter and walk around the rest of the house because they got all that road dirt off of their feet. So when we look at feet washing, the first thing, now I'm going to paraphrase it, or I'm going to mark phrase it, I'm not going to be quoting it to you, but you have Jesus taking off his outer garment. And this is symbolism of him taking off his divinity to become the lowest servant in the household. So he takes off the outer garment, he wraps a towel around his waist, which I'm not going to do, but I'll have it with me. And then he looks to Simon Peter, and he's looking to wash Simon Peter's feet. And Simon Peter goes, "Are you going to wash my feet?" "Not just my feet, my head, my body, wash all of me." And Jesus says, anyone who's had a bath, have you had a bath?
Yeah.
Anyone who's had a bath does not need the whole body washed. They just need their feet washed. Because you had clothes on, you're covering. And I'm assuming, well, this is actually twice today, but
Yeah.
our feet probably get washed once a day, right? You wash your hands every time you go to the restroom or whatever before you eat. But your feet, you know, they get socks on them and they can get funky, right? They can get kind of ripe. I don't know about you guys, sometimes during the summer I take my shoes off and I scare myself. I'm like, wow. So, first thing Jesus does is takes off that outer garment and he's becoming the lowest servant. He is humbling himself to be the lowest servant in the household. But there's more humbling going on here.
Easy. Careful.
Should have heard the first one.
Yeah.
And just to understand, when we do Maundy Thursday, we do not force people to wash feet. We encourage people to do it if they want. We don't tie you down and rip off your shoes and socks and wash your feet. If it's difficulty getting down, at our annual conferences, it opens off with feet washing and communion. And everyone is dismissed to do feet washing. And we have members, retired pastors and stuff who aren't able, but someone will come and take off their shoes and wash their feet for them. And we don't expect them to get down. I get down a lot slower than I used to, and I get up a lot slower than I used to. But there's other humility coming in here. Wayne has to humble himself to allow himself to be served, to allow someone to wash his dirty, crusty feet. And this is the hardest part to me of feet washing, because he has to get rid of his pride. Most of us my feet are tore up. I've been a distance runner since the 8th grade. I got calluses upon calluses. You know, people get toe fungus, you get all these different things that make us self-conscious. Most people, how many of you have ever done a mission trip or done a service project where you went and served somebody? Most people have no problem doing a service project or serving somebody, because it makes you feel good when you serve somebody. But to allow yourself to be served, you have to strip off that pride. You have to strip off basically your ego to humble yourself to be served. And then and only then are we in the right mindset to take communion. So you can see why feet washing is an important part of communion. People have no problem taking communion because it's a wafer and it's juice, but there's no feet. And without feet, you don't have a foot to stand on. I'm here all week. Yeah. But now there's a few different ways to do feet washing. For those who maybe are not comfortable, what I do is I put my foot behind his ankle. My hand. What did I say? My foot?
Yeah.
That? Yeah. And then I take water and I scoop it and pour it over his feet, his foot. It's only one.
That's colder now than it was the first.
They were going to do hot water. So then I towel it off and I do the other foot. And he helps. Some people will put their foot right in the basin, so it's easy. There you go. Now, normally, he would either wash my feet, or people would be in line, and you kind of wash each other's feet as you go down. Now, as you saw, I just poured water over it. I've been with people who's like doing a mani-pedi. They're in between each toe, you know, and they're really getting into it. But the point is the humility, allowing yourself to be served, which the very first time I did feet washing was in seminary at history and polity class out in Findlay, Ohio, and I broke down and cried like a baby. Because I had no problem serving other people. I had problems somebody serving me. And it was funny, it wasn't funny, but it kind of was funny. I mean, when I say crying, I'm blubbering, you know. And Greg Henry was washing my feet. He's like, dude, what's wrong with you? I said, first time I did it. I'm not used to anybody serving me. I'm used to helping other people. That's what I do, right? So, when you talk about taking communion and being in the right frame of mind before God, getting rid of your pride, accepting that humility, feet washing is a good way to do that. So we're doing this to make this not be a reason why somebody doesn't come to Maundy Thursday. Now, Maundy Thursday is on Maundy Thursday. If you don't know when that is, it's the day before Good Friday, and we have a 7 o'clock service. The theme of that service this year is 30 pieces. And that's what the whole theme will cover, the 30 pieces. So this was our prayer time. Hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully it'll take the stigma away from feet washing. And if you have any more questions,